What's going on YouTube? So the Telluride is Kia's most important product, and one of the most important additions to this new generation model is a hybrid system that's powerful and efficient. And as many of you know, we do own a Telluride, but Kia sent us this fully loaded hybrid to test out for the last week. So, did this week prove this is the Telluride to buy and also fill us with regret? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's start out with a spec dump. Like we were saying at the beginning, this hybrid powertrain is more powerful and more efficient. It's got a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 2 electric motors for a total system power of 329 horsepower. It's got a 6-speed automatic transmission, and the combined fuel economy with all-wheel drive is 31 mpg.
Now the base price for the hybrid model is $46,400, and it's around $2,700 more expensive than the gas version. And if you're looking to buy one or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. But we of course lived with this for the last 7 days, so we have quite a lot of impressions to share, such as our real world experience, fuel economy, and of course discussing if we have big regrets.
But first we gotta close up the hood, take a look at the exterior as well as the very luxurious cabin. Now, before we talk about the exterior design, I do want to point out that the hybrid is available in less versions than the traditional gas model. This will begin at the EX level instead of the LX, and then you can move up to SX and SX Prestige. You also cannot get the X Pro, which is the more off-road focused variation. But aside from that, Kia really is not messing with the exterior design. They're leaving the hybrid the same as the other models, and I think that's certainly a good thing because this new generation has a very handsome and a very high-end design. We have the X-Line package, which means that the front is going to have a little bit of a tougher look. We have a matte black finish through here, blacked out Kia logos, some piano black down here along the lower part of the bumper. Now, as we move over here to our headlights, we have a premium projector LED headlight with a stacked design. Since we have the SX Prestige, we also will have animations inside of our large amber daytime running light and turn signal indicator. And then down here at the bottom, we have LED fog lamps. Now, just like in the front, the back doesn't have any real specific changes for hybrid duty.
Yeah, but overall it has that signature Telluride design, so a lot of premium elements, including a large spoiler up here at the top. You have a wiper integrated underneath. All of your branding is going to be blacked out besides for things like the hybrid badge as well as the X-Line badge. And let's take a look at our taillights. So our taillights are going to be very premium. They're full LED across the lineup. That includes your brake light, your turn signal, and I also like this full light bar across the top. Your reverse light is in the lower bumper area. Speaking of the lower bumper area, you can tow 4,500 pounds with the hybrid, which is 500 less than the gas versions.
Next up, we have the wheels. Some of the hybrid trims do have slightly different designs versus the gas trim, but here on this model, we've got the exact same 21-inch gloss black alloy that we have on our Telluride. I think this is a pretty sharp looking wheel with a geometric design. We also have a gloss black finish, which goes around our wheel arches. As we move up here to our mirrors, this is a very impressive element with this Telluride because at the SX trim and the SX Prestige for the hybrids, you're going to have every single feature loaded on these. That includes auto dimming on both the driver and passenger side, which is something that the Escalade and Navigator we recently have did not have that feature.
Now at the side, overall vehicle length is 199.2 inches, and in terms of design touches, we have the pop-out door handles. We also have the raised roof rails up here at the top because we have the X-Line. And I want to talk about the color as well. This is known as Black Jade Green. This is a new color for 2027, as well as things like Terrain Brown, and it's been very well received among our friends and family this week. Now when it comes to safety systems, you get all of your active safety features as standard equipment. That will even include things like Highway Drive Assist. Additionally, if you choose the loaded examples, that will give you Highway Drive Assist 2.0, which allows for things like automatic lane changing. We found all of those systems to work really well. But guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to interior luxury. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's check out the inside. First, here's the Kia key fob, standard smart entry as well as remote start. We also have digital key on the top trim and the smart parking system there. As we walk up to the vehicle, it senses your approach, folds the mirrors out and pops those door handles out. And then let's check out the interior of this SX Prestige. So there's a lot of nice things inside of here, and that really begins with the seats. So all Tellurides will come with a Syntex leatherette for 2027. That being said, on the fully loaded example, we add in the extra suede accenting. So you'll see that we have X-Line branding through there, the suede, as well as the special super comfortable headrest. The seats themselves are very comfortable and they feel nice and high quality. Obviously, we just have the black today, but there's a lot of very expressive interior colors that you can get inside of this as well. Now with seat adjustments, you have 8 ways of power adjustment as standard on the hybrid models. You can bump that up to 10 ways with the thigh extension, and then the top model adds in ergo motion massaging abilities. Over there on the door trim, you'll see the control for that, as well as your heated and ventilated seats and your memory seats. Let's go ahead and climb inside. Now let's look around at the rest of the cabin materials. So we'll start out over here on the door trim. We have a leatherette through here and a leatherette covering all through this part with a stitching detail. As we move to the upper dashboard, this is all covered with a leatherette and stitch detail. On the SXP here, we have this wood-like trim, looks pretty realistic, feels nice. Also, there's a lot of ambient lighting inside of this vehicle on your top trim, so you get that all through there. It looks really cool at night. More of the wood trim going through here. You get the extra cover over top of your cup holders and leather padding through here. Everything is very solid, very nice, as we've come to expect from Tellurides. Let's fire it up with this push to start. Let's go ahead and get into some individual details. We have the 12.3-inch digital cluster on this model. It's got a little bit more customizability as compared to the standard version that we have on our Telluride. Overall, nice and sharp. We also have the head-up display, and it has really nice graphics as well as blind spot information up there. Furthermore, we have the blind spot cameras on board, and on the other side, we have rain-sensing wipers. That's on the SXP only. Also on the SXP only is the power tilt and telescoping steering wheel, but that's quite luxurious for the segment. And then you have steering wheel heating as well. The wheel itself looks nice, squared off. You got your drive mode controllers through there. And then let's go over and turn over here and take a look at interior storage. Popping this open, you'll see some donuts inside. And when we loaded it up, we got 7 donuts inside. Now that's actually a lower number than some of the other previous Telluride tests, and that's because this trim level comes with a rear area. So a lot of the storage is going to be back there instead of up here, so keep that in mind. Forward of that, we have our cup holders. These are the reconfigurable style that you can kind of pop out. And then you have standard 2 wireless phone charging pads up in the very front, as well as pass-through storage through there. So plenty of places to stick things. Main reason why is because the shifter is up here on the steering column. Twist up for drive. Paddle shifters are on the steering wheel. Twist down for reverse. Now if you get the SX trim or above, that will get you this 360-degree camera system. As you can see, good resolution with this. You have active trajectory, and you can also click into that view there and spin 360 around the entire vehicle. Press the P there for park. You also have an electronic parking brake and auto brake hold system located right there. Now you got your 3 USB connections, and then you have your climate controls right there in the center. This has a standard 3-zone automatic climate system. So your main control, your temperature and fan speed, is going to be located right there physically. And then you'll see that reflected in the climate display, which is about 5 inches, and it's in between the 2 main displays. Additional functionalities such as the rear climate controls can be accessed using that menu like so. Now, right above that, we have our volume knob. One of the things that's different from the Telluride we live with every day is the fact that this loaded example comes with the 14-speaker Meridian sound system. So let's hear a sample of that and see if it's a big improvement. Very nice. I think I speak for everybody on the team when I say that we would spend a little extra money to get this sound system. In retrospect, it does fill up the cabin nicely. It's a really good sound system for the segment. All right, zeroing in with the main technology, we've got, again, another 12.3-inch display. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on board. That's what you're looking at right now. This is CCNC, so it's the latest software. It's pretty customizable. It's very, very responsive. And just like with our Telluride, we had no issues with it this week. The hybrid gives you additional display there where you can kind of monitor your fuel economy and your energy usage. Up top, we have an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink remotes. That'll be on the SX and above. SXP gives you the digital camera rear view mirror. SXP also gives you a really nice suede headliner. It's not just nice for the segment, which is honestly very rare, but we've had, again, some flagship luxury SUVs recently where this is more plush on the Telluride than it is in those products. Now, as far as the sunroofs are concerned, SX and above will give you the dual panel sunroof, so you get the front one, and then you can also slide back the sunshade here and reveal the second one.
Now let's check out the rear seat area of the Telluride. So first and foremost, let's discuss space. So what we're sitting at is 41.4 inches of legroom, 40.4 inches of headroom. I do want to point out the hybrid, for whatever reason, is rated at a lower legroom figure, but it's still tons of room. It's about an inch less than the gasoline variant. I brought along the official Car Confections ruler because there's really nothing to be concerned about, because this seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9", and we're still sitting at around 10 inches of realistic knee room. That is very good. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seats, and compared to rivals, this is going to be one of the largest options that you can get. Now, speaking of, some of the seating configurations, I want to point out that you can slide these seats forward a really good distance, and you can also recline them. As you can see, we have captain's chairs as well. That's actually standard on every single hybrid model. So I do want to point that out. Additionally, if you want to get full power adjustment, that's an available feature. It's in the executive package here on the SX Prestige, and that will give you full power adjustment here in the rear, as well as the relaxation pop-out recliners in the front and the rear. Now, let's also talk about other features. We have two cup holders right here. Down below, as we were mentioning a little bit earlier, you have a little table here, and it's also a secret storage compartment for some, maybe snacks or something for the family. You have two USB ports right here. Suede on the back of the seat. That could probably get dirty from some kids, though, I could imagine. And then up here at the top, we have our climate controls, so you can adjust your own temperature right here. You have your vents that come out of the ceiling. And then if you want to take a look at the door trim, we have a couple more features to talk about. Standard rear sunshades on every single hybrid because you start at the EX trim level. You also have heated and ventilated seats, and that's included on this fully loaded SX Prestige version. You have some ambient lighting, a lot of door storage as well down in the very bottom. Let's go ahead and check out the third row. In order to get back there, it's really easy. All you do is press this button. That's going to kind of tilt the seat up and allow it to slide out of the way. I will say that this system is pretty good. I'm a new father, and having a car seat installed is not much of a problem. Now, let me go ahead and climb back here into the third row and talk about this. So what we're sitting at in terms of space back here is around 32 inches of legroom and about 37 inches of headroom. Those are going to be good numbers for this segment of vehicle. It's not quite as good as something like a Kia Carnival, but overall, it's certainly a good amount of space. This seat is slid all the way back. I don't have any additional knee room, but my feet can slide up underneath of the seats, and the thigh support is solid. Not exceptional, but pretty good. As far as the seating capacity, you have 3 seats back here, so overall is 7 passenger. You can get up to 8 passenger if you have bench seating in the second row. And then as far as features, we have 2 cup holders, we have a USB port, nice large piece of glass there so it doesn't feel claustrophobic, and you also have vents that come out of the ceiling. Furthermore, you can option on heated third row. We don't have it on this example, but that's once more included in that executive package. As far as how this rates on our third row rating scale, I'm going to say that this is fit for adults. I would like to have seen some of the features that they include on the Palisade calligraphy, such as the power slide, as well as the heated third row, which is optional. Walking up to the tailgate, of course, we have a hands-free power one, and let's talk about overall cargo capacity. So what we're sitting at is a little over 20 cubic feet of space behind the third row. As far as with the Third row folded, 47 cubic feet and a maximum of 88 cubic feet of space. I do want to point out the hybrid is about 1 cubic foot less space than the gas one that we own, but it's not a tangible difference whatsoever. Compared to some of the main competition, that's going to be right in line with things like the Hyundai Palisade and the Honda Pilot, but it is still less than the Toyota Grand Highlander. Speaking of all those rivals, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/vehicle rankings as well, because we've gone through not just things like cargo capacity, but things like the third row, interior technology, luxury features, powertrain choices, and value. And we've ranked each option in the segment. It's a very competitive segment, and you can sort the chart based on the categories that's most important to you to really make an informed buying decision. It will help you guide your decision. Like I said, there's a lot of options to pick from. Now, in terms of features for the Telluride, we have a manual folding third row. A power folding third row is not offered on this model, unlike the Hyundai Palisade. We have an accessory floor mat as well. That's why it was kind of bunched up there. And then over here on this side, this will allow you to electronically fold the second row of seats down. So I like that you can do all of that easily from the cargo area. And now that we've got everything folded completely flat, let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. It's a Car Confections review after all. 88 inches of cargo length is what you can expect from behind Drew's driving position. From behind the second row of seats with them slid all the way back, 47 inches of length. And then as far as the third row, that's going to be about 17 inches in length. The opening comes in at 45 inches wide, and the height 30 inches tall. Let's get our load-in height as well. 32 inches is your load-in height. And then underneath of the floor, there's a little bit of extra space under here. I'm also happy to tell you that the hybrid model still keeps things like a spare tire. You also have a household outlet as well over here on the left side. And we've put a lot of things in our personal Telluride. It definitely has a really nice cargo area for loading in items and moving. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2027 Kia Telluride Hybrid. In this test drive, we'll be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We're also excited to share our living with impressions as well as our real world experienced fuel economy. But first, we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, that takes us up to 60 miles an hour. So, like we said at the beginning in the spec dump, the Telluride Hybrid is not just focused purely on extra efficiency, it's also focused on giving you extra performance. This is the most powerful Telluride that they have ever made. It exceeds the old V6 by quite a bit. And with this, you have a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 1.65 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, 2 electric motors, total system power, 329 horsepower, 339 pound-feet of torque. So it really gets off the line nicely with that extra electric torque, and it feels quite powerful.
Yeah, as far as the actual 0 to 60, it's a second faster than the traditional gas option that we own. So it's 6.4 seconds to 60 miles per hour. The gas option is 7.4. And speaking of the gas option, it's the same 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder, no electric components, of course, 274 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. I have to say, you know, we're owners of the gas model. This hybrid certainly is a pretty big step up in our books when it comes to the overall experience. You know, fuel economy aside, I think that the all-electric torque kicking you off the line is a really nice benefit. Also, the extra power comes in handy, and it's also quieter than the model that we have. Now, some of that has to do with the trim level. As we've discovered, they add more sound deadening to the higher trim levels of the Telluride, but also part of it is the fact that the engine is off a lot of the time because it is a hybrid, of course.
Now, that acceleration we just did was in the sport mode, but even when you're in the default eco mode, it still feels nice and peppy off the line. Let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. So with this hybrid system, they've gone a different route than a lot of other automakers with hybrid systems. We have a 6-speed automatic transmission as opposed to some type of eCVT. This transmission, we've mostly had good performance out of it. It is largely very, very smooth. We've very occasionally had a little hiccup when it's in the EV power and you do like a rolling start situation. You might have a slight hesitation, but otherwise it really kind of just blends into the background and you don't miss like having the extra 2 gears versus the traditional gas model.
No, and as far as how power is routed to the ground, the hybrid is available on both front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. A lot of hybrids are locked into all-wheel drive. I'm happy that they're including the front-wheel drive version because that does improve your fuel economy pretty significantly. I'll talk about that in just a little bit, but you do have that option here on this hybrid system. But we've went ahead and turned onto our designated strip of road to talk about ride quality. And, you know, for those of you that follow the channel, you know that we own really this exact spec Telluride with the 21-inch wheels on the outside. It's an X-Line, and overall ride is just very impressive with this vehicle. It does a great job of soaking up bumps when you hit them in the road. Despite the wheel size, these seats are incredibly comfortable. This is really just a vehicle you can, you know, take on long road trips and arrive completely refreshed in. You know, this segment is all about comfort, and I think they've really nailed that aspect of the Telluride, and this week proved nothing different.
Yeah, it's really luxury level.
All right, and as we speed up to 55 miles per hour, let's go ahead and get our sound level reading for the Telluride Hybrid SX Prestige version. I have it on fan speed 1, and the rear climate is powered off. No ventilated seats or anything are on either, so let's see how quiet it is. Nicely done. 52.7 decibels is our sound level reading here in the Telluride Hybrid fully loaded example. Now we don't sit here and guess how it compares to its competition. We can find that all on our website, carconfections.com/sound level readings. And compared to those rivals, it can't quite beat the Grand Highlander. That is the champion of the segment. That being said, it is one of the quietest. I believe it's the third quietest in the entire segment. Tested very similar to the X Pro model that we just had a few weeks ago. So that's a really good sound level reading. Like Drew was saying, with the ride quality, it feels like a luxury experience in here. The sound level reading, I think, is another example of that. But what about the oh so important aspect of fuel economy? I'll hit the EPA numbers first and foremost. If you choose front wheel drive, one of the versions that can get that, you get up to 35 miles per gallon combined. That is very good. The SX is 33 mpg. And then if you choose all wheel drive, that will bump down your fuel economy to 31 miles per gallon. So it is a pretty big penalty between choosing front wheel drive and all wheel drive for the hybrid. Be aware of that. Now, as far as our real world experienced fuel economy this week, like we said, we lived with this model. So that gives us the unique experience to kind of test it out and see how it compares. At the time of us filming this video, we've completed a lot of our driving. We may have a little bit more mileage that we can insert in, but we're sitting at 171 miles of driving. 28.6 mpg is our real world experienced fuel economy, which is lower than the EPA estimate combined at 31. That being said, nearly 29 mpg I'm still pretty impressed with. And the reason I say that is because the traditional gas model is rated at 20. We, of course, own the gas model, and our fuel economy is not very good. I think in the 3,500 miles that we've driven in the lifetime of the vehicle, we're sitting at around 18 miles per gallon as an average. So that is a significant increase. So that is definitely something to consider when it comes to paying a lot less at the pump with this hybrid. But what's today's airball and slam dunk, our least favorite and favorite element after living with it this week? I'll kick us off with the airball and just say that we did have to kind of dig deep to get this airball. So that is a testament to how good this product is. But what I'm going to say that kind of bothers me about this is the fact that you have a lack of interior color choices based on your exterior color choice. And what I mean by that is, like, this black jade green is a beautiful color on the outside, but you can't get a light interior color option on this. And they have some really beautiful light interior color options, and I would definitely want to select those, but Kia kind of limits you a lot on the color selection. So that's something that really bothers me about this new Telluride, especially in these fully loaded SX Prestige trims.
Now on the slam dunk side of things, we could say really a lot of things in general, but I want to focus specifically on the hybrid system. The hybrid system itself really is a slam dunk. It kind of straddles right in between what Toyota does. You know, you have more power and also more efficiency. It all works together really, really well, and we just had a great experience with it. We have to say, after this week, we do kind of wish we had the hybrid. I think it would just improve the overall feel of our Telluride, which otherwise we really just don't have complaints about. So this would be a nice thing to have for sure.
All right, but what about pricing. So as I said at the very beginning, you start around $46,000. That's because the hybrid doesn't have the very base trims of the Telluride, so that does mean it starts a little bit higher, but trim level to trim level, it's $2,700 more expensive than an equivalent gasoline variant. Now, we of course have the fully loaded X-Line SX Prestige all-wheel drive. That starts at around $57,590. We also have loads of accessories. I think you could remove a lot of those. We're looking at $1,545 destination, so all told $61,180 for this fully loaded example. It is assembled here in the US in West Point, Georgia, and if you're looking to buy a Kia Telluride or any vehicle, we'd encourage you to check out carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you should do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool to use if you plan on doing dealership negotiation. You can find a link to that down below in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video, and there's even things like a monthly payment calculator as well. But what about Kia's resale reliability and warranty? First up, let's talk about resale value. Kia as a brand is rated at 49.02% of estimated retained value after 5 years and 60,000 miles, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 21.13%. Now that's right at the industry average for all vehicle brands. However, compared to most of the main competition, you'd be looking at cross-shopping, such as Hyundai, Toyota, Honda. All of those will be higher than this.
Now we also have reliability data. With the latest information, our combined reliability index indicates that Kia is rated above the overall industry average compared to all other vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale value, our reliability data, or our methodology, you can find that all on our website, carconfections.com. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a very good one. It's a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic, a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. You do not get complimentary maintenance, though. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth hybrid review of the Kia Telluride in this fully loaded SX Prestige trim level. If you enjoyed hearing our coverage on this and our impressions after living with it this week, we'd appreciate you subscribing down below. And of course, if you're at all interested in the Telluride, we actually own one of these, so you'll want to follow our ownership experience. So please do yourself a favor and subscribe down below. If you're already part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.